Galactic Empire killed a human child, unaware his mother was a ruthless human general. Approximate, 1760 plus words. The story chapter I, The Quiet Before the Storm. On a peaceful colony world called Haven's Reach, tucked near the edge of human-controlled space, life moved slowly. Children played under lavender sunsets, families tended small farms, and orbital security stations monitored nothing more threatening than drifting asteroids. It was for all intents and purposes paradise. And it was where 8-year-old Elias Ward lived. His mother, General Mira Ward, was not supposed to be on Haven's Reach. She was supposed to be far away, commanding the 5th Terran Fleet in a distant theater of political tension. But for the first time in years the galaxy was quiet. Mira took the chance to spend a few precious months with her son. "Mama, look," Elias said as he raced across the open field, chasing small bioluminescent insects that flickered like floating stars. Mira stood with a soft smile. "You'll catch one at that speed." Elias grinned. "I'm gonna catch all of them." His laughter floated through the warm air, pure, innocent, unburdened by the weight of his mother's violent profession. For the moment General Mira Ward was just mom. But the galaxy did not care for moments of peace. Nor did the Galactic Empire. Far beyond Haven's Reach, an Imperial patrol intercepted a human diplomatic vessel. A misunderstanding, a cultural slight, a moment of arrogance. No one would ever agree on what started it. But blasters fired, alarms screamed, and the Empire made a fatal mistake. They killed an Imperial officer and immediately blamed humanity. Punishment was decided without trial, without evidence, without hesitation. The Empire sent a message to humanity. They just didn't know the message would reach her. Chapter 2. Mira woke before dawn, soldier's instinct, and brewed coffee while Elias slept. She checked messages, browsed news, and found nothing unusual. Then her wrist communicator chirped. An encrypted military code. Her heartbeat quickened as she tapped it. "General Ward, urgent update from Fleet Command," said Admiral Holt's voice. "We have a developing situation." Mira stiffened. "Define situation." "Imperial forces have launched several unprovoked strikes along the frontier. Civilian casualties confirmed." Mira's breath caught. "Where?" A silence. A long, heavy silence. And then, Haven's Reach. The communicator fell from her hands. Outside, the sky lit up with descending streaks of fire. Dropships. Bombardment capsules. No. Mira ran, sprinting toward the house, toward Elias' room. But the first explosion hit before she made it 10 steps. The shockwave threw her across the ground. The air burned. The world screamed. Mira tasted blood as she staggered up. Elias. She bolted into the collapsing house, choking on dust and smoke. She found him. Small. So silent. Cradled under broken beams that had shielded her from the blast but hadn't spared him. Mira fell to her knees. Her scream tore through the burning world. It was not a cry of grief. It was not even a cry of rage. It was the howl of something ancient, primal. Something humanity buried deep under civilization. Something the Galactic Empire should never have awakened. Chapter 3. The General Returns. 47 minutes later, Mira stood on the bridge of the 5th Terran Fleet. She had not slept. She had not spoken. She had not wiped the soot or her son's blood from her clothes. Admiral Holt approached carefully. "Orders, General?" Mira's voice was quiet, terrifyingly quiet. "Lock the fleet." "Yes, ma'am." "Prepare the war protocols." "Which ones?" Mira turned slowly. Her eyes were not those of a grieving mother. They were cold, calculating, surgical. "Operation Shatterpoint." Holt swallowed. "General, Shatterpoint is—" "I know exactly what it is." Every officer on the bridge froze. Shatterpoint was the Terran directive permitting humanity's most devastating response. It had been theorized in simulations, debated in tactical councils, and locked away in classified vaults. No one had ever invoked it. Till now. General, Holt whispered, this will start the largest war since first contact. No, Mira replied. The war started the moment they killed my son. She stepped toward the holotable. Now we end it. Chapter 4. The Empire celebrates too soon. On the Imperial battlecruiser Dominion's Claw, Governor Xyrith relished the reports. Haven's reach neutralized, his officer reported. All inhabitants eliminated. A self-satisfied hum slithered from the governor's throat. Humans will think twice before provoking the Empire again. One officer shifted uncomfortably. Governor, intelligence suggests one of the inhabitants was related to a Terran general. Xyrith waved dismissively. Let them grieve. Humans are emotional animals, nothing more. Sir, another officer added cautiously, it was General Mira Ward's child. Silence. Even the engine seemed to quiet. Xyrith frowned. Mira Ward? The Butcher of Titan's Rift? The one who broke the Varric coalition in 11 days. Yes, sir. For the first time in his career, the governor felt something unfamiliar. Fear. She won't attack the Empire, he finally said, regaining composure. No human would dare strike us directly. The universe has a sense of irony. That was the precise moment humanity arrived. Chapter 5. The First Strike. The Fifth Terran Fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a blade through flesh. Dozens of dreadnoughts, cruisers, and escort frigates appeared in Imperial territory without warning, without negotiation, without mercy. The Empire's border garrison scrambled. Unknown human fleet detected. Raise shields. Deploy fighters. Sound the alarm. It didn't matter. Mira Ward gave a single order. Fire. The humans didn't target military ships. They didn't target bases. They targeted infrastructure. Shipyards. FTL gates. Communications arrays. Fuel depots. The arteries of the Empire. Within minutes, entire sectors went dark. Admiral Holt's voice cut through the chaos. General, Imperial reinforcements inbound. Mira nodded. Engage. Human ships moved unlike anything the Empire had trained against. They were fast, unpredictable, relentless, like Mira herself. Where Imperial ships fought in rigid formations, humans fought like swarming predators, darting in and out, crippling engines, slicing through armor, tearing apart command decks. By the time the Empire understood the strategy, their first defensive line had collapsed. And the war had only begun. Chapter 6. The Legend of Mira Ward. Across the galaxy, Imperial officers transmitted frantic warnings. She's coming. Do not engage her fleet. Retreat if you value your life. Mira became a myth in real time. Her strategies were brutal and mathematical. Each blow cut deeper into the Empire's veins. She targeted nothing symbolic. She targeted everything essential. Power grids. Industrial hubs. Hyperspace refueling lanes. Worlds didn't burn. They suffocated. Imperial admirals cursed her name, calling her monster, demon, war criminal. Human soldiers, however, watched her silently, respectfully, and followed her every order. Not out of fear. Out of devotion. Every soldier knew what had happened to Elias. Every soldier knew this war was personal. Mira did not hide it. At the daily briefing, she finally spoke to her officers. I will not lie to you, she began. The Empire took from me the only thing that ever mattered. Her voice did not break. Her face did not tremble. But this war is not revenge. She tapped the holographic projection. This is prevention. She looked around the room. Because if they are willing to kill one unarmed child, they will do it again. And again. And again. Her gaze hardened. We stop them now. The room erupted in a thunderous salute. The war escalated. And Mira drove humanity deeper into Imperial space. Chapter 7. The Empire's desperation. As human fleets advanced, the Empire collapsed into panic. Governor Xyrath watched the reports in horror. Outpost 77A lost. Gate Network Delta offline. Food convoys destroyed. Civilian riots on 5 planets. Xyrath slammed his claws onto the table. Find her. Stop her. But every time they dispatched a fleet, it vanished. Every time they fortified a system, it fell. Every time they predicted her strategy, she switched tactics entirely. Mira Ward wasn't just a general. She was warfare incarnate. Imperial scientists analyzed the battle footage and shook their heads. She fights like she feels nothing, one whispered. No, another corrected. She feels too much. Chapter 8. The Mother and the Machine. On board the flagship Resolute Dawn, Mira entered the war room alone. Lights dimmed. The holographic table flickered. A video message appeared. And there, smiling brightly, was Elias, recorded on his last birthday. Mama, when you come back, can we go to the mountains? You promised. Her jaw tightened. Her hands trembled. For the first time since the war began, Mira let herself cry. Not loudly, not uncontrollably, but silently, tears slipping down her battle-hardened cheeks. She pressed her forehead to the hologram. Soon, baby, she whispered. I promise. When she left the war room, every soldier she passed froze in place. Because Mira Ward looked no longer human. She looked like the storm that ends empires. Chapter 9. The Invasion of Vortax Prime. The Imperial capital world, Vortax Prime, was a fortress, protected by a shield network, orbital cannons, and the Empire's elite fleet. No one had ever attacked it. No one dared. Till now. Myra's fleet dropped from hyperspace right on top of the capital's defensive line. Alarms blared. Sirens echoed across orbital stations. Imperial commanders shouted scrambled orders. It's her. Defend the capital. For the Emperor. The Emperor himself appeared on the holoscreens. Crush the humans. Crush them. But crushing Mira Ward required something the Empire did not have. Courage. Human ships cut through the Imperial line like plasma through silk. Fighters swarmed the sky. Marines boarded stations before defenders could organize. And then Mira gave the order the Empire feared most. Ground invasion. Full scale. Her soldiers landed across the surface, disabling shields and paving the way for her flagship. Governor Xyrath watched from the palace balcony, trembling. Why is she doing this? He whispered. An advisor shook. Governor, they say humans don't go to war lightly. And when they do? The advisor swallowed. They finish it. Chapter 10. The Final Confrontation. Mira marched through the burning palace halls. Imperial guards rushed at her. She didn't slow down. Human marines eliminated them effortlessly, staying in a tight formation around her. At the throne room's doors, Mira raised one hand. The soldiers halted. This part, she said, is mine. She walked forward alone. The massive doors opened. The Emperor of the Galactic Empire sat trembling on his throne. He had always imagined he would face the Terran general in a grand battle of blades and plasma. But Mira simply approached him with the quiet, lethal calm of a mother who no longer had anything left to lose. The Emperor stuttered, Human, we didn't know. Mira cut him off. You killed my child. Her voice struck like a knife. The Emperor trembled. I can compensate. Mira stepped closer. You killed my people. Her boots echoed like war drums. You attacked without cause. Her shadow fell over him. And you expected mercy. The Emperor's eyes widened. No, please. But Mira wasn't listening. She wasn't here for revenge. She was here for a message. She leaned close and whispered, Your empire ends today. She turned away. Her marines entered. The Emperor's screams echoed down the hall. And then silence. Chapter 11. The Message to the Galaxy. When it was done, Mira stepped back onto the balcony of the palace. Smoke rose from fallen towers. Human flags fluttered across the capital. Broadcast drones swarmed her. She lifted a microphone. "I am General Mira Ward of the Terran Dominion." Her voice carried across every imperial world. "You killed civilians. You attacked our homes. And you killed my son." Her jaw tightened. "So hear my words." She looked directly into the camera. "Humanity does not start wars. The galaxy held its breath. But we will finish them." The message spread like wildfire. World after world surrendered. Fleet after fleet dropped their weapons. The empire collapsed not over years but weeks. Fear of humanity, and fear of Mira Ward, traveled faster than light. Chapter 12. Peace Again. Months later, Mira stood alone at a quiet memorial on Haven's Reach. The colony was being rebuilt. Birds chirped in new trees. Flowers grew in fresh soil. Life moved on. She knelt beside Elias's rebuilt grave. "I kept my promise," she whispered. "The mountains are still here. And now you're safe." The wind carried the faint sound of children's laughter. Mira closed her eyes. For the first time since the war began, she allowed herself to breathe, not as a general, not as a soldier, but as a mother.